So today I'm going to show you how I'm saving myself about $500 in fertilizer using fertilizer that I made myself for free. So this is my gravity fertilizer device that I set up last year, and it's just made out of PVC and an IBC tote, which holds about 250 gallons of water. Underneath here I cut some slits in the PVC that will drain out the water. And once this thing is totally full, it creates a really nice seam of water that drips very evenly out on my field here. You can watch this video right here if you want to learn how I built and designed this. If you wanted to build something like this yourself, while this is filling up with water, let's go check out that free fertilizer that I was talking about. So these are all barrels of JADAM liquid fertilizer, which is an organic farming technique developed by Mr. Young-Sung Cho. I highly recommend getting his book if you want to learn more about how to make your own fertilizers, pesticides, inoculants, and all sorts of cool stuff. So inside of this thing here, I've been fermenting a bunch of different material for over a year. Chicken manure, sheep bedding, and manure. I have all sorts of vegetative waste. I even put some of my fish amino acid that I made, so fermented fish. All the carcasses of that went into here as well. So this is extremely potent fertilizer that is full of an incredible amount of nutrients, and you can tailor these JLFs to whatever it is that you're trying to feed. So I'm doing grass out here, so I want something that's very high in NPK. And at the beginning of the video I mentioned I'm saving about $500. So if I was going to do a 13-13-13 fertilizer out here on my 4-acre field, that'd cost approximately $500. Now, if you're buying a ton of fertilizer for a 500-acre farm, you can get it a lot cheaper. But for somebody like me, if I was going to do a conventional approach to fertilizing my field, that's somewhere around the cost of what it would be. This was free. Of course, I don't use any unnatural stuff. I never have on any of my farms because conventional fertilizers are actually pretty bad for your soil. Do they grow crops? Yeah, they do. But they're actually killing soil biology, which are the real drivers of the nutrition that gets delivered to your plants, whether that's grass or your vegetables. So just like for our bodies, we want to feed the highest nutrient density and make sure that there is good microbiology in the foods that we are eating or our plants are eating. And most of that is driven by the soil, but we can also infuse it with more good probiotics by making things like JADAM microbial solution, liquid IMO, aerated worm or compost teas, and a myriad of other things. But when it comes to a powerful fertilizer, JLF is the one. So that's why I'm going to be distributing that out today. My field has dried up. It hasn't rained in about a week. And one of the negatives to the dispersion method that I'm using, which is driving with my truck in a trailer like this, is that it is going to cause some amount of compaction on my field. Now the compaction is going to be fairly minimal. My truck's like 2,000 pounds. This trailer is going to weigh about 1,000 pounds, and that's distributed between 6 wheels. So the compaction is not the end of the world, but it'd be better if we could do zero compaction. And compaction, what that is going to do to the soil, it's the different soil layers will get smashed together more, which means that water will not be able to infiltrate as well. Microbes and worms and things like this, they won't be able to travel around as well as they could if it was completely uncompacted ground. But you know what? I have this field hayed once a year as well. That causes some compaction. If you can have pasture that just has animals and never has a vehicle on it, or maybe just a four-wheeler, that's the most ideal situation for soil health. But I'm unable to do that. Now, what if you wanted to get around compaction? You could set up a sprinkler system out here, kind of like you've seen on those gigantic farms on huge rollers, and they'll just roll across these fields and water the plants. I don't have access to something like that. I don't have water down in this field. I'd probably need like a 2-inch pipe to get the amount of pressure that I would need to run a large enough sprinkler system out here to fertilize with this, and that's a bunch of extra costs. So that's why I've gone with this gravity, very inexpensive setup, and I wanted to develop something that everybody could make anywhere in the world at a very low cost. So this is what I've come up with. Another way you could do this too is if you had a tractor and one of your pressurized water tanks, that could also spread this out too. So you could use all the different conventional machines and just combine it with techniques like this. And if you had big enough tanks, you could do large acreage, hundreds of acre farm and fertilize it with JADAM liquid fertilizer. Let me know in the comments, if you have other good suggestions of how maybe you would disperse a liquid fertilizer like this. Here's a little look at what's in here. You can see some of the biofilm from whatever microbes are growing in here. And this is an anaerobic fermentation process, which we shouldn't be scared of. We're just mostly getting nutrition from this because it's been sitting for so long. Actually, the smell on this one's not too bad at all. This just, has aged like a fine soy sauce. And now it's really nice. So I put all my Korean natural farming inputs that like my waste products, whether that's FPJ or vinegar leftovers, fish amino acid leftovers, IMO 1 bad collections, all that sort of stuff. You can put weeds in here. I mean, it's just endless what you can put in these buckets. So to figure out the strength of my dilution, I'm gonna use an EC meter like this. Last time I did a 2.0 EC and I didn't damage the field at all or have any problems. So I'm gonna actually double that and go to 4.0, make it really stronger, see if I can get a better response from the field. We are gonna get rain tomorrow. So if it is a bit too strong, this will water it in and dilute it even more. But this should be very plant available at this point because of how long it's been sitting. So I'll try to make a results video for you guys so we can see what ended up happening, but I don't think that it's gonna be too strong. This is a little siphon here. I'll put a link in the description for this siphon too. It makes it so easy, no mess. You see I'm wearing gloves, and that's really because if you get this on you, your hands might stink, for a day or two. So I don't want to have to deal with that. So I'll start with 20 gallons and put it into my big tank. We'll test it and then see where we're at with the EC and then adjust it from there. So to strain out any solids that might be in that 5-gallon bucket, I use a paint strainer. It's a nylon bag and pour right into it because sometimes if you use other types of strainers, it will splash off and spill a bunch of it, but this works the best. So now that I'm a bit lower in this barrel, I have to dip this in. So it's not too crazy. I dip it down so just the liquid starts going over the lip. And I'm getting close to the bottom where I can feel it bottoming it out and I feel the solids that I have in here. So now that that's happening, I can just stop here and then fill the rest back up with water. This will continue to decompose. Maybe I'll throw another 5 or so handfuls of leaf mold soil in here, reactivate, get more microbes going. You don't have to do that, but it doesn't hurt to do that. And then if I want to add in some more raw material, I could also do that as well. But I know that there's a lot of really potent stuff in here, so I'll just probably fill it back up with water and let it age again. And I can keep reusing this over and over and over again. So I've added about 25 gallons of my JLF. Because it's been sitting for a year, it is a lot stronger than last time. Say it's at least twice as strong now after sitting for that long. Okay, I've got it after adding more water. It's at about a 3.2 on my EC meter here. So I think I'll add a little bit more water and one more 5-gallon, and that should get me where I need to be. So we're all done. We got the 4.0 EC that I wanted, adding a tiny bit more water, and then we're gonna drive together and show you kind of how I disperse it. And this is gonna be a great test because I'm not gonna be able to do 2 tanks of this, which is what I need to get most of my field. So I'm only gonna do half the field. So we're gonna see a side-by-side test. Does this free fertilizer really work? So I'm really excited to show that to you guys. So be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can see when that next video comes out. But let's go ahead and jump in the truck and I'll show you how dumping it goes. Okay, so I just opened this and then I'm gonna run real quick. Then I just put the car in first gear. And then drive about this speed. So, extremely slow, just, 5 miles an hour and under. And it does a nice little seam of fertilizer there. So we're gonna go over to the top side of my field here, stay on the other side of this electric and dump all the fertilizer on the top side of the field. And then when it rains, anything that's not absorbed or gets kind of pushed out of the ground by the excess moisture will run down the hill and cover more area. So I'll do about 3 tank loads of fertilizer for this 4-acre field. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next Nature's Always Right video.